guys, this is Teah. Today we're going to be taking a look at ASP.NET Core extension framework, which is Blazor. Um, so Blazor is a framework, a full stack framework in a sense that that has been here for a while now. I don't know how long, but I think it's maybe like 5 years or more, and it keeps getting improved. And so now that I'm in the situation where I will be using Blizzard uh, pretty soon, I've been looking into it and trying to understand where they are going with the overall architecture. And pretty so much so far. I mean, so far so good. I think I'm quite impressed. Even though there is a lot of signaling that a lot of signals um, from the .NET developers or documenters who wrote the document for the overall API in a sense. Um, they when I read it, what I'm seeing is like .NET can do this, .NET can do this, right? That's why I'm hearing from them. But then there's also a subtle uh, uh, like a proposal in a sense to other developers. In a sense, it's like we need you guys over. We want you guys to get into our ecosystem. And I mean, it is it is a big the .NET ecosystem is a big professional, and you could say like higher level, higher grade ecosystem, and it is a little bit embarrassing for .NET ecosystem to actually uh, you know come down a little bit and like be a bit humble, and say, you know what we've been doing haven't been working out, and it isn't as modern as most of the frameworks, and so we're going to try to adapt to that. So when you read a documentation, you can actually see you can actually see everything in there. I don't know, it was just me, but I saw it. I thought it was a bit funny. And honestly, I'm impressed that like the .NET ecosystem or the .NET community is able to actually put their, you know, you could say ego aside and actually focus on what they need to do in order to survive. And I think Blizzard is that proposal to other developers, especially the JavaScript ecosystem, asking them to actually move over a little bit, or to like just try out .NET. Because if if .NET hadn't taken this step in a sense with Blazor, I think .NET would have actually stayed in the dust in a sense. It would have actually been left behind with the innovation and everything that is going on with JavaScript right now. So I think Blazor is like this new update is really far into the future in comparison to the state that .NET have been in for a long time. So I am impressed. I'm gonna I'm gonna say that, and I'm actually happy to see things like this happening with C Sharp, because I criticize .NET and yeah, .NET itself, not C Sharp. I love C Sharp, but the overall like .NET, design and the infrastructure in a sense, and the community and stuff. I criticize things like that a lot. I mean, that section a lot because I know like I it's not like I know they can do better. I just think things can be a lot better in a sense if they actually let their ego down a little bit and actually start adapting to the modern way of doing things. And the modern way of doing things is getting into databases like no SQL, right? Versus SQL. SQL being out for a long time. Yes, it's great. You know, um, querying the data is okay, right? NoSQL does it faster, does it better, does it in a much more readable way, and does it in a NoSQL is just superior to SQL, honestly, right? And that's what we have, like all these modern um, designs and all this modern innovation are just so popular and they are just screaming out so loudly that I think bigger corporations are actually starting to hear these these new advances and they are actually trying to get on board with that. So um, again, for developers who have actually been learning stuff like Stack and GraphQL and things like that, like Docker containers and other stuff like that are way ahead, futuristic technologies like those. I think as time goes on, like as corporation actually let their ego down a little bit, you guys will actually start to find opportunity because as for me, it's actually the ninth right now, like I think it's September, right? Um, I got out of college in like last year in December, and I couldn't find any opportunity, bro. Uh, I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't find any opportunity because the uh, the technology that I learned was something that like somebody who were who could have done what I was doing, or even come close to my level would have been somebody who have been in the industry for 20 years and so on like that. So it was really difficult for me to find an opportunity just because things didn't catch up to the modern standard at the level that I am at in a sense. And so when I got interviews and things like that, and it was pretty much off because they couldn't trust that I could do what I can do, and so it was really difficult for me. And I've been through some really tough times. So if you are a developer out there, I will recommend learning things like Blazor because this is like larger corporation actually starting to actually accept the fact that they need to get on board with modern frameworks and modern design architecture in order for them to survive in a sense in and actually innovate within their own ecosystem. So Blazor is way superior in a sense in that capacity. And so yeah, so we're gonna be looking at Blazor. Okay, if you want to learn it with the reading way, you can. Actually, I'm not gonna teach it right now. So I'm just gonna say that we're gonna overview it. I'm not gonna teach it. Anyways, to create a Blazor app, I already have one. But this is the command for it. It's a new Blazor server, right? There's a full stack thing, right? There's the front end and then the back end. Blazor assembly is the assembly standard C sharp design attached with HTML5 assembly standard design, which both of them link together to allow .NET runtime to interpret code into JavaScript. I mean to maybe fire events into JavaScript and HTML. I mean into not HTML. fire script off and maybe generate HTML and whatnot, HTML5 and things like that, so that it can run in the browser. And that's what the WebAssembly does. It transpose the code so that it can be readable in the browser, right? So there's the the Blazor assembly and the Blazor server, right? Blazor WebAssembly and then Blazor server, right? So go back upstairs. Put it down. Go back.
I'm on gums. Whatever it was
Go.
is gums.
I'm doing something here. Go.
I'm on gum.
There's no gum here.
Yes, it is. It's gum.
There's no gum.
I'll be used the bathroom. I'll go to the bathroom. Close the door.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
Wait.
Thank you. Close the door. Bye, Daddy.
Just hurry up.
Okay. Just wait for me.
Oh man. Okay, so um, all right, hurry up and go upstairs, okay? All right. So .NET ecosystem, WebAssembly. It's too cold in this room for you.
I get it. I get it. I'm done. Let me
Bye
rake
bye.
my head.
Bye bye.
I gotta
Wipe
rake
it on
my
your
head.
shirt. Bye bye. Go.
Bye.
Don't touch anything. Just go. Stop touching stuff. Go.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
I love you.
I love you too. Bye bye.
No kukume.
Yeah. Go. I got to do something.
Me too. You got to do something. I know you raking it. You raking it. I know you raking it. I know.
Okay. That's my brother's daughter. All right. So WebAssembly. All right. We talk about front end and back end, right? So with the back end, uh, let's focus on the back end now. So the back end is Blazor server, and Blazor server, in a sense, this is the interface and the overall API in a sense setup and whatnot. And Blazor server, um, it kind of acts like Express in a sense, right? Because you are building uh, HTMLs and in the sense CSS, and you are running it in a server environment where you are actually serving files. The way you serve files is you serve the DOM is .NET watch run. This here will run the application and put it on watch mode, pretty much like in Webpack, where you can apply changes and have them hot render once you click the save button in the editor. So I mean, when you look at this, it's no different from developing a React application, and that's why I'm actually impressed and I'm actually happy to see something like this because um, they really did a lot of work and they really it was, I think it was like a I don't know. I'm just really happy to see things like this. I'm gonna be honest. Like I did not consider C sharp like as anything you could use to make web applications. So as I was saying earlier, um, it's Blazor server is similar to Express in a sense, and you basically run the code in the server and you serve it with the .NET watch run and things like that. And all right, so as I was saying, I'm excited to see this because um, companies are gonna start hiring more C sharp developers for web development, and web development is not gonna be crazy for engineers who find themselves working mostly with fixing uh, editor level problems instead of actually developing the applications, working with Nuget's packages, things breaking, and all of that. With the new design and framework that .NET is that, like the path that they are taking right now is they can only go up from here in a sense. So without further ado, we'll start getting into the actual demonstration here. As you guys can see, there are a lot of pizza uh, files here. Looking at it actually make me hungry. But yeah, I've been looking into the documents and pretty much learning these past days. So my first day, I went on to YouTube. This is how I learned in a sense. I went to YouTube, did some research, and then I just look at the code and look at the documents and stuff. And the second date, I just copy and paste that stuff, and look at them, and just I wasn't really trying to learn. I was just looking at what it could do and what was going on. And when I was doing that, I learned that the underlying like architecture for .NET still remains. They are still trying to enforce uh, pages, razor pages, and Nuggets and CS HTML, but with Razor it's called the Razor now, and they are still trying to enforce .NET over at the identity of .NET. They are still trying to reinforce it. However, they have designed a framework to match that of an average web developer in a sense, where you have uh, you have the HTML and then you inject it with whatever um, script that you use, dynamic script that you use, and whatnot. So we'll go over these, but yeah, all right. Actually, let's just do that. So we have the README here. There's nothing in here. Just do. I guess I'll save that and then we'll move on. We have the program.cs. This will be like the average mean uh, area for your application in React. This will be like your index.js or something, and this is where you initialize the JavaScript functionality. In this case, we are initializing .NET, and we are getting the dependencies from the Microsoft .NET library. In this case, we are using the core version of ASP.NET, and this is the latest. and I think this is the version that Microsoft have chosen to move forward with, because it adapts to cloud computing and the modern architectures of application design. So we have that. We have Razor pages, things and whatnot. Services. So services are a unique way of injecting uh, features into your app, and you guys will see pretty much we're gonna have a singleton here for, I think that's a database or something, or store. So services, there isn't really a direct relation that I can explain, that I can show you guys, but um, anyways, with React, I think services solve the problem with React. So with React, there wasn't like a single state manager for your spa application, your single page application. This means that whenever you click on a button or did something that trigger a hyperlink or trying to fetch data or whatever, you will usually have a reload on the page, and that reload will automatically refresh all the data on the page and things like that. Um, Another problem was like having same state data, in a sense where you can have multiple components using a single point of truth, in a sense, a single database. Um, this is what the singleton solves. The singleton service module slash design solves. If you guys don't know what singleton is, it's basically uh, it's part of the .NET library, and it basically um, instantiate your object and marks it as like a single point of truth for the rest of its references, in a sense. So no matter which component reference this, when they change the data in here, it will change only one time, and it will whenever other components try to access that field that was manipulated, they will get that single true update that occurred. So that's how singleton works. And as you guys see here, we have HTTP client for client side testing. Obviously, you'll want to deploy your application into server, into to the server side, for if you want to test it again for deployment purpose, like before you actually release it. With me, I actually think testing your application uh, on a server after deploying it is a good way to go about doing things, because something might work locally, but then when you deploy it, it might raise another error. So testing doesn't just have to be, it shouldn't just be done one time, it should be done multiple times in different environments, and so on. So HTTP would do uh, local testing, and you actually obviously want to convert that to HTTPS, and so on with secure SSL and things like that. So we have SQLite. SQLite is SQL. I would say it's an adapter for SQL database, in a sense. You interface with this version, I mean, with this application, in order for you to get uh, updates into an SQL database, and that's SQLite. SQLite, and it's a whole different thing on its own. Anyways, so we have the context there. So I talked about the context, and I talked about React, and one more thing I'd like to talk about, when I saw context, I made a direct connection with Redux, in a sense, with the singleton and stuff. I think the singleton solves that problem that Redux also solves for React, and the only difference here is that this overall structure solved it in a lot simpler and easier way. I think the way Blazor does development is a lot simpler and a lot easier than most of the development workflow that are out there, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, so if you are transitioning to .NET and you are looking for a framework to, learn, I think the Blazor framework is where you should be at, because it's gonna explode. It might not explode in a larger, like a popular way. It might not blow up because the framework been out for a long time. So maybe people came to it and they looked at it and then they left, and they might not look at it for a second time. But I think people within the .NET ecosystem are definitely going to start moving towards Blazor, more so. When I say it's going to explode, and that's the type of explosion that I'm looking at. So you guys should definitely look into Blazor because it is going to explode in the next, let's say, 6 months from now, or 9-ish months from now, like next year, pretty much. It's gonna start getting popular with .NET companies and so on. So we have app here. You initialize your app. This var thing is popular. It just means variable, C sharp, and I think every single language uses var for instantiating variable that that doesn't really have a type that you can recognize in a sense. It's a shortcut for just making something when there's nothing you can use to make that item, to instantiate that item. So we're just gonna use variable to instantiate the app here and set it up. And this here is part of the entity framework core, instantiating the database. Um, I'm gonna be honest again. I like speaking the truth about about things, and I'm opinionated in a sense. And this is why I don't talk much, because I'm opinionated about a lot of things, and I'm passionate about a lot of things, and I won't like to, you know, force that onto other people. So I avoid that, like, naturally. Anyways, I have my opinion about the SQL thing and no SQL. Um, I will personally not use the entity framework core database because I don't think it's good. I'm just gonna cut to that. I would prefer MongoDB, and from my learning perspective here, it's good to learn these things, right? It's good to learn how to set them up. But personally, I see myself, if I were to use Blazor for a long time, I see myself not using the entity framework core. I just think I'm not gonna I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm not gonna beat on it. So yeah, so we will move on to HTTP here, determining the environment. If not in development, uh, if not app environment, there is development. So yeah, looking for the false statement here, and you execute whatever that is in here if this statement is false, and so on. Then we add HTTP redirection and HTTPS. We have static files, and we have using routes. As you can see here, it's like the use thing. Reminds me of Express. And honestly, when I look at this, it's a bit funny to look at them, but it makes me excited to see things like this, because it just shows that they are actually moving on. They are trying to adapt to the modern way of doing things, and I just think it's a lot positive in a sense to see things like this happening. So you have host and so on, and then you run the app. So same thing. If you know React, you know this. If you and a developer will look at it and just and understand, like, partially or fully. It depends on you. So we have Blazor example. All right, so this is name that I gave to my application when I was creating it in a sense, and I'm using .NET 7. And one another command you probably want to know is .NET dash dash list dash SDK for software development kits or something like that, and it will list the environment, the .NET environment that you are running on your device. If you don't have the most up to date updated version, you can simply just go on Google and search it up, and you can get that from the maybe the Nougat or something. I'm not sure. Anyways, there's a way to download stuff like that, and it's quite easy. Anyways, we have things here. We have so and so stuff. We already went over these, and this is kind of like the project package.json. But anyways, you have app setting.json. So there are many core solutions in a sense. Here, this might be the solution for the project if you were in the Visual Studio thing. Anyways, you have the JSON here, and so on and so forth. And then we have app the razor where you have your routers and stuff like that. And it explains itself. If you don't have any route to go to, this here will show this your 404 destination not found or something. This will spit out if you go to the wrong route or you go to something that isn't available. And then we have your input razor. Um, it gets razored content and .NET content, so on. You have your 5-hour code. It shows on the tab like this. You have your CSS, and for a while C# and stuck with Bootstrap and so on. Um, I think you can actually integrate your own CSS in here because .NET uses. I mean, you can inject JavaScript into this overall workflow here. So we are getting into the juicy part. You got solve it prompt the razor. Razor is a syntax, and uh, it's like JXX in a sense for um, React and JavaScript. And basically, it's HTML and C# mixed together, and you get your razor or the CS HTML, and pretty good. Here you have HTML stuff here, and then in your code you have your C# things in here. Okay, and yeah, there are other ways you can do stuff, like you can do add function. Whoop. Interesting. Yeah, functions. Okay. Again, I just learned this like in 3 days, so I might forget the syntax, and we will learn this. I mean, we'll review this together. So we have functions here, right? You can put, if you want to be organized, you can just set this up, format this, and put your functions in there, and maybe put your variables in here. And the cool thing about it is like everything in these areas here can be accessed in the HTML, and you can access them using the razor syntax, which is this right here. So this add title here is linked with this at with this title right here, and there's a private getter, a private setter in a sense, and that means this code is going to run in this script uniquely, and the parameter for that is going to be set within the script in a sense. So you can have two tabs open, right? And two tabs, and this component here can be instantiated in two different tabs in a sense, and you can change the parameter, but it won't change for like it won't change two times, like in a sense it will be unique individually. It'll be when you make a change, that's how it's going to be asynchronous in a sense. So we are moving on into nav menu, CS. You guys know there's CSS here. Yeah, nav item and all that stuff, and colors and whatnot. And yeah, you keep going. All right, we have main layout. Layout is the skeleton of your application. Um, yeah, layout is the skeleton of your application. In a sense, like the HTML of the React, where you plug in your JS in the script section and then run the rest. Layout, what it is in .NET. I'm like as I'm describing, I mean explaining this, I'm explaining it from a JavaScript perspective and a C# perspective, right, or .NET perspective. So it might seem a bit like uh like rambly in a sense, because I'm trying to get my understanding of JavaScript and I'm trying to get my understanding from C#, and then I'm trying to mix all of that together, so anybody watching from either side can actually understand what I'm saying, right? So uh, get back to layout. If you're a .NET developer, you actually be able to understand with me like what I'm trying to say here. Layout actually allows you to set up the structure of your website, you like your nav bar and your folder and things like that, and that's the skeleton in a sense. For a JavaScript developer, that's the skeleton of the page in a sense, and yeah, that's that. Right, tiger equal blank. Basically, I think it will open this into a new tab or something. So we move on, and then there's the share. So the folder structure is for .NET, right? There's the share content, where this here it means that everywhere in the project is supposed to be able to access everything in a project is supposed to be able to access that file, and that file is meant for the entire project in a whole. And .NET uses MVC framework, and it's very professional, it's very orderly, and the M model view controller, right? MVC, and it's very orderly, and that's the design that I use in most of my I try to adapt in most of my development uh, environment. So yeah, we go to launch setting. Okay, this here is like the project the locked or like JSON or something like that. Here you have your proxy. Okay, these are like proxy settings. Um, if we launch a project right now, it's gonna be in HTTP localhost, and this is gonna be our port for it, and we can do that right now. .NET watch run, and I'm probably gonna have to. I'm gonna probably turn my camera off or something. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with OBS. So we have window capture. Whoa. This display capture, window cap. All right, so this is doing my display capture. I'm just gonna do it like that. All right, as you can see here, I've been doing a lot of stuff in this window, and yeah. So there's a hello world application. Here is at the root path. The root is just this, hello world, and yeah, it's on localhost 5160 and local 5160 over there with the Blazor 5 icon. And yeah, we will keep moving. we are now in the pages. What are pages? Pages are views, right? They are for views, and they are everything that are in here. That is in here is called a razor page in a sense. And razor page is a component, guys. There are a lot of naming going on, but if you know one, you will know the rest in a sense. Razor pages are components that have razor syntaxes in them. In a sense, there's the razor syntax. Once you have this, you can apply this in the script in a component. It's a razor page, right? So we are now in the pages, and we have these things going on. Okay, so we made a to do. I made a to do. And we have the index here, right? This is the root URL path, right? To make a route, you need to set up this section here. You have to have the at and then page, and then you set the URL string, right? That's how you make a route. And whenever you want to make a page, that's how you instantiate it, right? So yeah, that's that. We have injection. Injection is like importing the script into the page, into the component, and you inject the the script into the component, right? Dependency injection, right? That's where they took that word from. So and then you have using this one. Yeah, I don't think it's like only C sharp that does using, but yeah, you guys know what using is, right? So using this here is the namespace right here. Um, and then we are using statement. I put these in system, and yeah. So we have HTML right here. We have a component that is being imported in here. To import, you don't have to like instantiate a reference here. You can just input the component by just instantiating it in a sense. If you use React and JSX, you already know how this what these means, right? These elements in a sense, what it means. So we are doing this here. We are instantiating the counter instance here, and we are changing the value for increment amount. And we have a button, and when you click the button, this here is me injecting actual JavaScript into the overall architecture as an experiment. But what I was talking about earlier was counter, right? So we're gonna look at this counter thing here, and the counter itself, right? One thing I wish that we can have in the editor for working with C sharp is the control click thing, so that it can take you directly to the file path, to the file itself. Um, Anyways, when you find a counter thing, the file, this is how it's gonna look. You have some HTML here, and we are counting up whenever we click something. And in the code section here, we have some variables, and these two things are linked together. These are just scripts, C sharp.net scripts, and yeah. So this is the function that runs when the button is clicked, and the reference is in here in the button itself, and the on-click event itself is a razor event instantiate. It was instantiated as a razor event in a sense with the add here, and it will trigger this function, and the function will run, and it will increment by this amount, and this here is going to be saved privately. So that's that, right? We want to look into the window here. I didn't make this. It was an example, but I changed the number, right? The number was changed to 2 to increment by 2. and we also have it in the, yeah, in the counter area, and it increments by one here, right? Increment by two, increment by one. As I was explaining this earlier with the React thing. Anyways, we also made a to do example, and what is to do is you can type do your homework, and you add that to the to do. It instantiates with a button toggle here, and you can toggle it as done, or you can, untoggle it, and then you have a one to do to be completed, right? So to do item to be completed. All right, so how does that work? Let's see. We'll go back to the index and increment, and there's a for each somewhere. So we have the counter. I think everything is inside the counter itself. Let's see. Click the counter. All right. It's probably not in the index. Which page was this? This was the to-do page. Right. So here it is. It's in the for each thing, and as you guys can see here, there's a razor. If this was React, you will have something else here, and maybe like a bracket just going around there, and we have the for each to do in the to do's list. We will just create a new list item in this order list. We can have it as on order or order, whatever, doesn't matter. And you just generate an item that has an input, and it also has another input here with the title, to do title. And there's a binding thing right here. So what is this binding? This an on item change, or on item value, on value change event handler um, that will trigger a change in this property here. You can see our child component property. Um, it's going to trigger a change that will actually edit the user interface, right? And the to do, or is it, yeah, to do object itself, right, is an item in the list, and by binding it, it's going to be put into the list, but then this link is going to persist in a sense, so that, right, you put the item in the list, it's going to show up here, right? And then this input field here is going to be bounded to whatever update that you make here, right? And it's going to persist in here in this input here, because it's an on value change event, and that bounding process just allow it to be cached in a sense for that moment, and so on. And also you have the toggle here, which is also bounded, right? um, so yeah, to do is done, right? This it is done here is the boolean, and that's the input type checkbox. The checkbox is this thing. You can check it and uncheck it, and then it's bounded to an on event, on item change event, and on value change or whatever, and it just updates here. And you can embed razor elements inside of the HTML using this add here, right, with the parentheses or whatever, right? And that's how you can embed razor stuff in there. And yeah, I hope you guys are getting this. We have list here. In JavaScript, you usually use array. There's nothing such thing as list or whatever. Uh, yeah, and so on. This here is not string. It's no. It's checking if the string is empty, something like that, or no. before we add it to the list, just to avoid errors. And that's the cool thing about .NET is TypeScript. It's type straight, strict. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so we're going to pizza here. Pizza is very delicious, and I've had for HTML, and then you can embed the razor element in here with the at, and then you do an if statement here, and if else and whatnot, right? So unlike JavaScript, if you want to check something like the length of the list or whatever, you don't use lowercase, you use uppercase, right? Uh, so just try to keep that in mind. That you gotta understand a little bit of difference in development if you're a JavaScript developer, because little things like that might have you scratching your head, looking around for hours when all you had to do was just remember the little difference in syntaxes and you'll be good. So there's a table here, and this table serves as a template when we are instantiating pizza um, objects content into the page. And this here is injecting a singleton or redux store in a sense into the page. And to properly inject the item, you need to make it globally available in a sense, and to do that you have to go into the program.cs and initialize it. So if it was using a namespace, you want to include a namespace here so you can be able to access it in this overall C# file. And we are instantiating the singleton instance here, and that makes it globally available because this is the app instantiation area, right? It makes it globally available, and we can, you know, just get the reference in here, input a reference, inject it, and we can use that pizza service in the script itself here, right? We are overriding the life cycle, the UI element life cycle, Blazor element life cycle, and in React it's like on component load or something like that, and so on. So this here will check for the initialization. In Unity is like void start or something like that. Public void main and so on like that. For the component is called on initialization, on initialize or on initialize async. Um, Task here is async, and now you get into asynchronous programming. I can speak tonight. Um, Anyways, you get your pizza array here, and it check for the type and whatnot, to make sure you don't break things as you develop. And that's the cool thing about C# development with .NET and this overall Blazor framework. It will always make sure that you aren't making errors as you develop your application. With me, I have been in this environment for a long time, and I've been doing structured programming for a long time. So I personally am biased towards I'm in favor of like raw JavaScript because I I've been here, and this is like my life in a sense. This is where I'm from, like the structured environment in a sense. And so I want to I will lean more into something that isn't static in a sense, like a new experience in a sense when I saw JavaScript. So, anyways, for developers from the JavaScript world, um, I just want to point out that these things will look out for you and try to make sure that you don't get into trouble when you are developing in a much more professional sense, in a much more structured sense. JavaScript is professional as well, and a lot of people love TypeScript because they don't think JavaScript itself is good by itself, right? So um, I'm speaking towards that those type of people. So I think you guys would really like Blazor if you don't like JavaScript because of all the stuff that you have to look out for yourself when you are developing with it. I personally prefer the elasticity, elasticity or whatever the malleability of JavaScript. Uh, so that's why I would like to contradict, agree to disagree in a sense. So we go on here. We have toppings. There's a component, and you can actually route to that page and whatnot. And as you can see here, we are reusing components, the Blazor components in here, and we are editing the parameters, adding new properties in here. If you do React, whatever development, you already know what this is. This here is it's a public view on the object, on the pizza object. If you go here, you will see we have the pizza name string, and it has the attribute, the parameter attribute here, which indicate that this here is a parameter, like it's a public parameter, right? You have to add this here. Remember that, because if you make it private, you might not be able to access it due to how C sharp is designed and how TypeScript type strict it is. So yeah. Um, so if you had experience with TypeScript in JavaScript, this should be quite easy for you because it all goes back into object-oriented programming and whatnot. And yeah, Blazor is just the raw definition of TypeScript programming. So I made my own page. This was my first time, and I just made some mess up stuff, and so on and so forth. Right. So I think we've gone over everything that you could possibly go over. These folders I made personally, and it's like C sharp things, and I add this stuff in there. Yeah, I was experimenting too, just poking around, making random scripts and seeing how they work. And we were talking about asynchronous programming earlier, and this here is a pizza service object that was injected into the page here, the Razor page for pizza and pizza service. That's something else. Let's see. All right, I don't know where that is from. All right, pizza. Yeah, it actually is in something else. Anyway, this here is the singleton instance, right? It was injected into the Razor page, right? So I guess this is it right here. So what am I gonna say about this? Asynchronous programming in C sharp, you probably want to have like a sketch. It's not like this, and you want to put things in there in a proper way. If you did this in JavaScript, it will break because you'll get like an exception or something, and you can. One of the things that I was trying to look up was like how to log things out, but I think there's a way to do that, and I just clicked something that I was not. Anyways, another thing that I would like to have in this Blazor overall environment here is the ability to automatically organize your script, reformat your script. So that will be one of the two things that I would really appreciate in here. And maybe the syntax highlighter as a linter or whatever. So when you hover over the things like pizza, it will tell you like what it is and things like that. You know, normal things that you'll see in a JavaScript development environment. And so yeah, so we just organize this a little bit, and the task here is instantiated with a parameter, open parameter for taking in an array of pizza. Is going to return an array as well. I mean, it is instantiated to return pizza object, and this is the object we're going to return. And as you can see here, we have two array. If I were to just do it like this, it will actually break. So that's something else you want to try to keep an eye out for, so that you don't break your code and scratch your head and you don't know what's going on. Because I did, so I'm just spreading the word. And what else? What was going on here? What did I do? Let's say that the pizza is here cannot return a value. Oh, uh, oopsie. Wait, what if we do this here? Yeah, you want to return something anyways. Like it doesn't matter what happens, you have to return something, and that's what the editor was telling me. You could return here as well, and you can actually return here as well. Yeah, but you can return an error instead of the thing here. Anyways, we'll just leave it like that and move forward. We have special controllers. This here is the entity framework core thing set up, and I set this up and I was testing it. However, the querying part was giving me problems, and I would really. This is one of the reasons why I avoid things like this, because it is out of my control. It's a black box code, black box structure where you get to see stuff, but you don't really know how the underlining part works, and that's what I don't like, and that's why I'm trying to avoid entity framework core in a sense, and whatnot. Um, yeah, we've gone from the bottom all the way to the top, literally, and I guess this is where it ends. We have the bin folder where you have things that isn't really important to you, but you should keep an eye out for. It's like the storage for miscellaneous things, and yeah. So thanks for watching. We're gonna see you guys next time I make a video. I don't make video often anyway, so it's probably gonna take like months or years maybe before you guys can see me again. Anyways, if you like, subscribe. If you like it. And if you have a comment, a question, other things like that, go ahead and provide those in the box below. And I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. I just want to show the entity framework part, and let's do .NET watch run. I just want to show the entity framework part because I didn't show it. And a few seconds, real quick. All right, we'll go to special, and that's the problem. All right, so the only way to fix that will be to remove the the getter and setter in the data store for .NET. I mean core, .NET Core, and remove it from in the seed, not in the let's see. All right, this is the only way. If I removed, I should probably move my stuff here. All right, I have to remove these for it to work like that. But that's not the right way to do it. The right way is how it looked right now. All right, when you do that, say, all right, this here I'm setting to a string. It shouldn't be a string. We'll just correct that real quick. When you do that, it should solve the problem, but the home page will not work. All right, so we have that. We have to go back again and maybe enable the script in the there's a routing going on here. This where it is. There's a HTTP routing, and okay, there's problems going on. So we have this, and I guess this. I don't know. It didn't matter earlier. Special. Alright, broke. And we'll go here. No such file as base price. Right, this is the error I was getting, and so on. And anyways, this is the type of problem that I don't like working with because I don't have the tool set to be doing this. So how did I fix this earlier? All right, so we'll just exit this and then .NET watch run, and it will probably solve the problem, hopefully. All right, there it is. Okay, so as you can see, part of the data loaded, but not all of it, and just these little issues that I would rather not stress myself out over. So yeah. Anyways, Blazor is it's a work in progress, but it is going the right path, and we hope to see all of these features added and updated soon. So thanks for watching there.